That's a issue that we really need to address as a race. Black on black violence, woman on woman, man on man, cross gender, regardless. Our household is an abusive environment. And it's very hard to go out into the world and do anything of real significance and really give your all when at home it's out of control. There's no control in your own household. But you want to go out into the world and have control and create control so that you can achieve certain things. And for me, it's who do you expect to play the role that, in today's day and age, a man can play any role, a woman can play either role. But whoever's playing that role, who do you expect to play it and play it well when the environment you're creating for your partner is an unhealthy one, is an abusive one? It's one that breaks them down. How are they supposed to function and perform that role to the best of their ability when that is happening? How are they supposed to become their higher self, their best self, when you are constantly breaking them down? How do we hold each other accountable as a society to ensure that it's not something that perpetuates? Because currently that's what's happening. Every time I log into the news or I'm on social media, that's what I see. I see black on black violence consistently. Men breaking women down, vice versa. And it's demotivating. Where do we start addressing a lot of the issues and the matters that we need to be tackling as a society, playing the role that we know we should be playing on a global scale when we can't take care of the little things? I would argue social media is the most important place for us to start, given the influence that it has. The first place we need to start is addressing the violence in which is displayed on social media.
I don't like this notion of we need to then start educating our sons. No, everyone needs to be educated, even our daughters, because we do it for them. Let's be honest, we do it for them. It's not that I essentially do it for myself. I do it for them so that they can then see me as a man of some kind of substance. But that's not the case. Hence why, as in South Africa, we're so violent. Unfortunately, the violence towards women is just bad and so much more intense because it's bodily harm. But the violence amongst the black community is rife. Example, the way a lady would speak to their children or their significant other, that is a form of violence. We are all violent because of our past. That needs to be addressed. The way we're addressing it right now, I think, is incorrect. This whole hogwash of men this and that, boys this and that. We didn't come from a tree. I know I didn't come from a tree. But did you come from a tree? You were raised. Someone raised you. Who raised you? The community. A rotten community. Just think about when you go to K1. I don't know if the billboard is still there. Ujwala. That's it. What does that bring? We get drunk. When you get drunk, you lose inhibition. Once that happens, host of problems. You're no longer loyal. You're now beating up people you're not supposed to be beating up. You're abusing women. I'm not saying men abuse women because of alcohol. No, I'm saying it's a contributing factor. We grew up in environments which are very unhealthy. Just imagine back in the day, you'd be working wherever you're working and you left your significant other a car and you never see these people. When you go back home, you have to meet your friends, your cousin, and your significant other. This is your only spare time. Automatically, there's no father in that house. Automatically, even when you are there, you have to do so many other things as a man. And then, what's the impression that the lady receives? I'm tired. You don't take care. And as long as the black man is useless, the fight for the black race to emancipate themselves, black consciousness, Yonkinto is nowhere. We never show love to each other as black people because that's not the communities we're raised in, unfortunately, because you're always fighting for something. You're always fighting for your child to eat. You're always fighting for this job. You're always fighting to survive. We need to be kind. You just the way women talk about men, how men treat women, how certain women treat their children, how women treat women in the black dysphoria. It's just violence all around. But it's beneficial for the white man, it's beneficial for capitalism to pin it on the black man. If you're a black poor man in South Africa, yes, let me tell you, it's rough for you. There's no one coming to save you as a black poor man. Forget that shit. At least with the lady, they have some kind of I can marry into. There is an option to get out of that. As a black poor man, you're done for. And even when you are there on the bottom, they're still telling you that you're useless. It speaks to education though. I think it just speaks to education, what we've been sold and what they continue to sell us. We need to start teaching children about black history from primary school. I mean, we all know that guy who did the light bulb, Thomas
Edison.
All these great white people, they were just shoved down our throat when we were young. What do you think that does to a black child? Automatically, you're not good enough. What do you think that does to a white child? Automatically, it gives them that superiority complex. I can do A, B, C, D. I can achieve because someone like me has achieved. Everything is so structured. Why don't we read the books by Steve Biko? Why? Why is it not in the high school curriculum? Why don't we know about the real history about the Egyptian pyramids? Why don't we know about that? Because they know that if we raise a generation of black people who are aware that actually the people who were at the helm at the time that the pyramids were being built were as black as me and some even darker, changes the whole mindset. Abu, what's the youngest pharaoh?
The youngest pharaoh? I don't know.
He had melanin like us, but we never get taught that. I mean, there was a cartoon I watched where they had white pharaohs. Granted, because there was a Persian invasion, but that is not their history. They were black, probably even darker than because they're from Sudan, and you know the Sudanese people and Mali, those people are dark. The Nubian people are dark.
And probably the biggest lie coming out of our educational system is the idea that Africa was just elephants and forest or just jungle when they arrived here, whereas that couldn't be further from the truth.
There was learning, there was medicine, there was maths.
Yeah.
We never taught that. Nothing. Just 3 years ago where I found out that a bunch of black men went to Spain and civilized Spain. I was like, that's wild. The Moors.
Yeah, no, that is wild. And those are the things that make you start to wonder, what else do you not know? What else is being hidden from you?
I'm not sure if it was even this year or last year where I found out about Kemet, what Africa was called before it was called Africa.
Kemet,
yeah, Kemet, Kemet. There was a harbor, there was fully functional, there were rich Khoisan people.